Alright, hello and welcome to my tutorial here. This is a tutorial on how to get like a basic Roblox rig in a Blender. If you want one for view models, I'm going to make a specific video on that because they're even more complicated. But the first thing that you want to make sure that you do is have the Blender Animations plugin installed, which I can't find in the toolbox, so I'm just going to put it down in the description below for you to go download. So the next thing that you want to do, whatever rig you are planning on exporting, it can have tools or whatever in it, doesn't really matter, but you want to click on it, make sure it is at position 0000, well just 3, but then you go open this, click on it, and you notice that it moves a little bit, so you want to make sure it's set back, and then you are free to export. Then you go to Documents. I've already done this before, so I'm just going to overwrite my save. And then clean meta parts. If you keep the meta parts there, you'll just have a bunch of parts floating, so it's always best to clean them. And now that we have it saved onto our computer, we can go get the code for Blender. So this might look a little bit confusing, and I'm not going to say I understand any of it, but this is the coding for Blender. It's in Python. So I'm going to put the link for it in the description and use save as. Find where you're going to put it in documents here, and then you want to make sure it's all files. I already have one here again, so I'm just going to overwrite it. And make sure that you select all files and add a .py to the end of it, or else it won't work. So now we're good to actually get Blender. And you can just find it on Steam. It works perfectly fine on there. And you want to make sure that it's in version 3.6 or lower. If it isn't, then it just won't work at all. So you want to go into Properties, Betas, and then make sure it's selected on the 3.6. And now we can move on to Blender, which for the first time going on it might be a little bit confusing, but it isn't too difficult. And the first thing you want to do is go to Edit, Preferences, Install, specifically on the add-ons part here, but it should already be there. Install, and then you should find whatever you named your file here. So now that we have it, this shouldn't be here yet, but it'll come up soon. So we go to File, Import, find the bottom one, and you can import the rig. So now we have this. It's always helpful to activate one of these here to see where it's facing. And we can see it's there. So now is whenever it got really confusing for me, because sometimes these parts are named something like rig.23 or something. And all of them would be named that, and I didn't know how to fix it. But all you have to do is click on it, change it, and then you should be good. Now, once you've renamed all of the parts here, or haven't done that, it depends on the computer, I think, because it varies sometimes. But if this doesn't work, then make sure that all of your parts are named what they should be. And now we rebuild rig, generate rig, click OK. And now we have all of our parts here. It works fine if you don't select that. So you can notice that the face doesn't actually connect, and that is a Blender issue. So what you want to do is just delete the inside part of it so you just have the face. Now, we go here. If you want to add the face on, that is, you click on the face, go to Material right down here, get rid of that texture, New, and then you click on this little thing next to Base Color, click on Image Texture, Open, and now you can save a picture of the Roblox face or whatever face you want to put on it, which I do not have a picture of a face on this specific computer, so I'm just going to put Walter White on here. Now that we have this, we can actually start animating it, and make sure you go to the top left into Pose Mode, so you can do whatever animations you want with that. And you find the animation window, and here is where you're going to be spending most of your time. Again, make sure this is active. And disable this, turn on these two things. And then we're pretty good. We can just change this to be a bit lower. And here we are. So a couple basic things with Blender. You can select everything here. And then I is to insert keyframes. I'm going to do location and rotation so it saves everything. And you can notice that this is working a little bit choppy. So go up to here in the render port. Frame rate 60. So now it works a bit better. And we can make whatever animation we want. It takes practice, so I can't really help with that. So here we go. Here's our beautiful animation. And from here, all you have to do is open this right here where we rebuilt the rig from. RBX animations. And then export animation. You get a little baked animation thing down here. You can pause it. And now we go back to Studio. And here we are back in Studio. So now what you have to do, open up the Blender animations, click on it. I always like it to be back at 000. And then it's pretty simple. All you do is import animation, you get some code here, and then press Ctrl V to paste it. And then you have the animation. So we're almost done from here because we already have the animation in there. You can change if it's looping, what animation priority it is, and then upload. So then we have this here, we can name it whatever we want. And now that we have this file saved to Roblox, and then usually it might not work because we have the Blender animations open, but once you have this little cube thing, you just save it to Roblox, so get a little pop-up window, click save, and after you do that, you get a code, and you can use it however you want. And that's really the only difference with Blender is the whole export and import process, but that's about how simple Blender is. And I will be doing a video on view models pretty soon, but this was just to get started with everything. And if you want more tutorials, let me know and whatever you want it to be on. And that's it for today. Happy animating.